Well, part of being, you know, athletic and even also too having like brothers and sisters, I think it makes you more competitive because you're used to being in that group setting and having to vie for attention or scoring or whatever it is. Would you say you're competitive?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
How so?
I think you have to be. Like you said, it's healthy. Competition's healthy, right? Like I'm a big fan actually, and it's a funny sort of segue, but it totally makes sense, and this is why I think I identify and just love it so much. But the sport of mixed martial arts, like, you know, I'm sure you've heard of UFC. You know, I mean, those are the big leagues. Yeah, right. Well, I've been following them since, you know, like the early 90s, when it was sort of the more barbaric version of it, where it was, you know, a 300-pound 6'4" guy versus like a 5'8", 150-pound guy. Like now it's obviously way more restricted and just there's more rules. You know, it's a sport now, and it's why it's the worldwide phenomenon that it is. But I love so many of the athletes, and so many of the athletes that I follow they just have a mindset about, you know, they're the champions. It's just interesting to watch how they speak about things. You know, and there's a comfort and a confidence about just their persona, just their way of being, you know, and it's like the simple saying, like, powerful people don't have to act powerful. They just are. You know, it's as simple as that. Like Meryl Streep in Devil Wears Prada, perfect example. I love that because she is a powerful person, and we know that as soon as we are introduced to her. But she's very subtle in everything she does, and nothing is her acting at being powerful. And that's an easy thing to do. You get scripts like that all the time where people are like, oh, I have to be tough and I have to act, you know, tough. But it's like, if you've ever met Mike Tyson in real life, like, he's the simplest, calmest guy you've ever met. It's so scary, actually. Like, he's nice. I've met him a handful of times and talked to him, and it's eerie how calm he really is, you know. And we all know him from, you know, from growing up and the stories, but he's a simple guy. But you know, this guy can kill you, you know, like, and there's just something about his comfort that, you know, he doesn't have to act at that, you know. And I think going back to like the UFC and just that competitive nature, like, UFC's amazing. They're a great product. It's, you know, I write articles and I have friends that are fighters and stuff for that. Like, I'm a big advocate of the sport. But they also are the biggest fish in town, and they're almost the only fish in the pond at this point. Like, there are very few companies that, well, there's not even any company that I think directly competes with them. There are people that are trying to get to a point where they can sort of compete, and I don't think that that's good, because you need competition. Competition breeds just you know, that it fuels that fire that we continue to work harder to be better, you know. So I think if you're the best at what you do and you're the only person at what you do, it really is hard to continue to grow, you know, unless you have somebody that's on your tail and you're like, well, I need to grow because this person's almost there. You know, I think it's good to have that back and forth. So I'm fully competitive by nature, of course, but also by necessity. Like, I feel like I need to surround myself with people. Like, I always tell, you know, like, my producing partners, like, I don't want us three to be the best at, you know, of our, you know, like, of our production, you know, because we're new, you know, we've been lucky to produce 2 films, so we're not, you know, we're not Harvey Weinstein, like, you know, we're very much beginners at what we do. But I love surrounding myself with people who are better than me, because then I can rise to their levels and continue to do that. It's like sports. Like, I never want to be the best person on the team. You need to surround yourselves with, like, a team of Michael Jordan so that you can rise to the occasion and learn and get better as well. Like, I fully believe that. You know, I feel like if you're the best person on the team, like, who's challenging you? You know, like, it's a team sport, so you need to continuously, you know, support each other. But and in supporting each other, I think that means challenging each other as well. So I love being challenged and being competitive with my peers, because that feeds us, and I feel like that's going to feed me to continuing to, you know, work harder towards it. You know, you don't ever want to get to a point, I feel, where you plateau or just don't need to work hard, you know, and so for me, competition is a very important part of that. Like, I watch TV and I'm like, damn, that person got the job over me. Okay, you know, but it's good. It feeds me inside, and I'll never forget, you know, and it may just simply be I see that, then a month later I'm on an audition for something and see the person in the room, and just remembering that, I'm like, okay, you know, we're going in, we're bringing this, you know what I mean? Because it's just that connection, you know. So I absolutely, you know, encourage, and I don't think I'll ever not be competitive. I'm a very competitive person, for sure. And I'm also very supportive, though, too. Like, I know I feel like there are a lot of people who can be competitive, but they can't also celebrate an accomplishment of somebody. And I don't ever want to be that person. And I have an ego, and I have, you know, times where I can get jealous or envious too, but like I always check out and try to remind myself, like, don't let this be about that. Like, it's okay to be happy for people, and you have to be. And I've even some of my closest friends, sometimes I feel like they have a hard time showing that they can be happy for somebody, you know? And I get it, you know, I get that. But, you know, I think it's important that we just kind of know the differences of two things, and so we can continue to support each other, you know, in a good way.